8. Sir. Mom and I had been homeless for about 6 months when I had a new problem. Mom developed a relationship with a man who was often hanging out at the train station. I didn't like anything about the way he looked. His face looked funny. When he smiled, which he always seemed to be doing, his eyebrows would point straight up. He wasn't a complete stranger to Mom. He had lived in my hometown and knew Mom in passing from that time. He had been sent to the notorious Yodok prison. The prisoners there couldn't move and were forced to sit on their knees all day except for when they ate. If they dared to scratch an itch or even move their heads, a guard watching them on camera would call the prisoner to the front for a beating. He said he preferred prison when he was forced to work hard. At Yodok, they couldn't move or see the sunlight. When he was released, he couldn't open his eyes for several minutes because he had not seen sunlight in a few years. He said he felt so free when he was released, but he didn't have anywhere to stay. When he was in Yodok, his wife had brought him some food. While chewing, he found there was a note inside. She had written on it, "Let's get a divorce." Using a needle, he stitched his response on the backside of the paper she had given him. His message, "Do as you wish." She didn't think he would be able to get out of that prison. He was not interested in fighting it, and he knew she would have a tough life as the wife of a convict. He agreed to the divorce, but as luck would have it, on the next day, the birthday of the dictator, he was released as part of an amnesty. As he got healthier, he would be at the station playing cards with people, waiting for the next train or trains stranded because of electrical delays. He was always at the center of attention. He always seemed to be winning the card games. A lot of people would watch him, trying to figure out what he was doing. He was a magician with the cards. Some would get angry and storm off, saying they would return later. Some would just concede to him. He seemed to remember every card he played and even seemed to be able to guess which cards the others were holding. He would arrogantly play his cards while challenging others. Even when he didn't have a winning hand, he would bluff others, not with a poker face, but with his endless humor and bragging. Others standing behind him would say, "Hey, are you sure you're going to win with that hand?" "Shut up! I'm going to kill them all with these cards. 1 time, 2 times, 3 times, he would say, pointing at the others. "These cards will kill the others here." This card player began talking to Mom. After catching up on each other's lives, they began talking about cooperating to make and save money together. After he made money destroying the others at cards, he would buy food for us. I didn't know at that point what kind of relationship he was building with Mom. A few times when there weren't train delays or many passengers at the train stations, he and Mom would go out stealing together. He wouldn't let me join them. I had to wait at the station. He had some authority, so he could arrange for me to be protected. He seemed to know so many things about the world. For the first time in a long time, I wasn't starving. Mom had been vulnerable when she went stealing with other homeless people. It was every man or woman for him or herself. It was different with the card player. If they got caught, he would be the one to fight, negotiate, or escape through some magic. Mom asked me what I thought. "Do you know the man who is playing cards and almost always wins? What if we got together? What if he becomes your new father?" Mom and I were sitting on a bench in the train station. I was frowning. I shook my head to show my frustration. "No, Mom." She weakly tried to make a case for him, but I didn't want another stepfather. Mom let it go. A few days later, the card player brought us food and gave Mom some money. I was wondering if they had already started a relationship. With one finger on my chin, looking my mom directly in her eyes, I asked, "Mom, what's going on with that guy?" "Mom?" "Nothing." "Are you sure? He also gave you some money." "I'm sure. He's just helping us." I was happy that he had given us some food, but I sensed that something was going on. Mom still wasn't ready to completely confess. She usually told it like it was, but in this case, she was being evasive. "He wants to help us and have a good relationship together." I wasn't finished investigating. "That means," my voice faded, waiting for my mom to finish the sentence. "Let's just try." I could see what was about to happen. I could see that he was Mom's boyfriend. I didn't trust him. I had only had terrible father figures. With the new relationship, Mom and the card player were talking about the future, making and saving money and buying a house together. I saw another side to him, but I still wasn't ready to trust him completely. "From now on," he said, "I will play cards every day, but that is just pocket money. We will also need to steal food." He would make money playing cards when there were people at the station. They went out to steal food about 5 times without getting caught, then sold much of what they had stolen. After more than a month, he said, "Okay, I think we don't need to steal food again. We can't live like this long term. Let's find a place to stay." We moved in with an older woman who had been living alone and needed someone to care for her after she suffered a stroke. Miss Shin slept in the bedroom, while Mom, the card player, and I slept in the living room. I refused to call this new stepfather Dad. Instead, I called him Sir. One day, Mom told me to prepare the dinner table. I enjoyed having that family chore. After being homeless for months and starving so many times, I enjoyed having a home with food. I was setting the table when Miss Shin sat down before I had finished getting things ready. I politely asked Miss Shin if she could move so I could finish setting things up. She refused to move. "No, I'm a grandmother. You shouldn't tell me to move." When Mom asked me what was going on, I explained that I needed to set the table, but that Miss Shin wouldn't move. Mom got angry and threw a heavy stick used for washing clothes. I started to sit down just as Mom tossed the stick. It hit me right on my upper lip. My quiet little tug-of-war with the elderly woman had led to me bleeding profusely from my mouth. Sir sprang into action. He didn't say anything. He picked me up and carried me to a small clinic nearby. I couldn't talk. I was looking up at the sky that seemed to be moving as he carried me. I could only hear his breathing. This was the one time that Sir was serious. The clinic was wrapping up for the day. Sir asked them to check on me, but the clinic was too small and unable to handle my case. He then carried me home and told them to get ready to take me to a hospital. I had hated Sir and refused to accept him as my dad, but he was the one most desperate to save me at that moment. The blood from my lip was on Sir's shirt. For the first time, his eyebrows were straight, not pointing up. And for the first time, he showed anger toward my mom. He was ready to take me to the bigger hospital, but Mom said it would take about 2 hours to get there. Mom tried to care for my lip with soybean sauce. That was Mom's home remedy for everything. Mom would already be reaching for the soybean sauce before she even heard what health problem to treat. If I had broken my arm, Mom might have put soybean sauce on it. She put soybean sauce on my lip, which stung a lot. Sir was angry at Mom. "You can't do that kind of thing. You need to be patient. You can't just throw things when you get angry. She is a girl, not a man." "Whatever." Sir was usually chatty in the house, but that night he didn't say much. He went out to smoke. The incident had a major impact on me. I felt that he was on my side. I began to think that Sir might be different from the other father figures. Sir was also influencing Mom. She was not the type to explain herself. On this occasion, however, she did explain herself. She was angry at Miss Shin, but she couldn't attack her. She didn't want to hurt me, so she just threw the stick without any force. She believed in disciplining me and teaching me that I must be polite to elders. She had been raised that way and had been beaten often in her first marriage. Sir made it clear she could still be stern without physically punishing me. He said he wasn't going to tolerate her throwing things. His eyebrows were not pointing up when he said it. He was never violent or aggressive. He instead used his sharp wit and humor. Mom never again whipped or hit me after that incident. The apology from Mom still took time, but it did happen almost 2 years later. "I didn't mean to hurt you. I am so sorry." Sir had truly taken over the role of father and leader of the family. He teased everyone, especially me. He would even tease me about the wound on my lip. Instead of being ashamed, I even learned to joke about it. Mom had put a bandage with soybean sauce on it. After about a week, I could talk again. I told Mom that with my big, wounded lip, I looked like an American. Sir embraced the joke more than I wanted. "Yeah, she looks like the enemy." He began telling stories about me being a hated American. "Hey, don't say that." I had made the joke, but he was taking it too far. He teased me endlessly. "Can anyone understand you now? It seems that you have wind going through your mouth." When I said something, he would repeat it, but with a muffled voice and a strange look on his face. He wouldn't stop teasing me about my wounded lip. "Sir, stop it." At breakfast, lunch, or dinner, he would be looking at my mouth, trying to figure out how to tease me. I would glare at him, knowing that he was looking for a way to tease me. As I ate, I would have one or both eyes on him. I knew when his eyebrows went up that the teasing was about to start. "Oh," he said, "you can eat food. You look like a grandmother the way you are chewing." "See, I knew you were going to say something. I'm not a grandma." "Oh, you're not a grandma? Maybe you are a goat?" Sometimes it seemed that he ate quickly just so he could focus on teasing me. For the first time in a while, Mom and I were in a stable family situation. Still, I called the card player Sir, not Dad. He wasn't bothered. "It doesn't matter. You can call me anything." No matter what I said or did, he would smile and joke. I would frown or even glare at him, but he wouldn't complain. He would just have fun and tease me even more. My birth father had always been cold to me. My previous stepfather had started off nice, but later was cruel to me. Maybe Sir would also turn against me one day. However, I couldn't deny that Mom had a good relationship with him. She was constantly laughing about the things he said and did. I was happy about that, and I was starting to think he might not be another terrible father. Everyone, except me, laughed at his jokes. Mom would have tears running down her cheeks as she laughed. Miss Shin, who couldn't move around very well, would be slapping the floor laughing. I still frowned when I looked at Sir. but I was hiding the fact that I was warming up to him. He always seemed to be plotting something to entertain me. One day, he called out to me. I was feisty. "What? I don't want to look at you." That wasn't completely true. When I saw those eyebrows go up, I did want to laugh. I didn't want him to know it, however. "Just come over and look at me. Just look at my hand." He was rolling some paper into a small ball. He placed his hand flat. Then he began pretending to push the ball of paper through the back of his hand. My eyes were following the movements, trying to figure out what the stupid magic trick would be. He was grunting and apparently hurting himself a lot by trying to push the paper ball through his hand. Then he pointed. "Songmi, look over there." I looked, but I didn't see anything special. When I looked again, I saw that he was still rubbing his hand. Then magically, the ball was under his palm rather than on top of his hand. No way! But I couldn't explain his magic. I had doubted his tricks when he was at the train station, but I was now seeing them directly rather than as a part of a crowd. Now, he was trying his tricks on me. "Do it again." He asked for more paper. I rolled the paper into a ball to make sure he didn't play any tricks with it. I handed the small ball of paper to him as I watched him closely. My eyes zeroed in on his hands and the ball of paper. He was pushing and rolling the paper around the top of his hand. He suddenly pointed up. "Oh, Songmi, what's that?" I looked up, but then my eyes quickly glanced back down at Sir's hand. I saw him about to move the ball from the top of the palm of his hand. I had caught him in the act. I asked, "Is the ball still there?" I kept watching him. He was trying to figure out how to distract me, but nothing he did was working. Wait, he said as he leaned over to the side, slightly lifting his butt off the floor. He was straining, counting. 1, 2, 3. Okay, almost. He farted loudly. It felt like a tsunami had hit the entire room. I looked away for a moment, waving my hand to fight the smell. "Dad, go to the toilet!" For the first time ever, I called him Dad. It wasn't exactly a beautiful moment. "Finally," he said. "That's it. I needed to do that." He resumed pushing the ball through his hand. When he finished grunting as he pushed down on his hand, he showed me that it had gone through. I wasn't having it. He was pointing and doing so many things to distract me. Did his magic only work when I wasn't looking? "Dad, do you think I'm an idiot?" "See, it's real," he said. His eyebrows were still pointing up, but he had been cornered. "The ball went through my hand. See, it hurts." He was rubbing his hands to show how difficult it had been. Was he a better liar, actor, or magician? "Dad, where's the blood?" My hands were folded across my chest. I knew I had him. He insisted that it was magic. "Let me have the ball," I said. "I will show you magic." I was copying him, rolling the ball around the top of my hand. Then, with a surprised look on my face, I looked at him. "Dad, what's over there?" His eyebrows didn't move. His eyes didn't move. He stared directly at my hand. I tried again. "Dad, who is she?" as I looked over his shoulder. He didn't blink. Mom was laughing. For the first time, all of us were laughing together. When I said Dad, it wasn't forced, and I meant it. I had tried to hate my new stepfather, but he was doing everything he could to make me love him. I thought to myself, this is what a dad should be like. Someone to have fun with, someone to care for you when you are in pain, someone to be patient even when you are angry at him. I even began to laugh at his teasing. As I began to laugh, he would joke and tease even more. He had lost his wife and children when he was in jail, but he now had a wife who loved him and a daughter who was starting to love him. Nothing was sacred, as everything could be laughed about. He was plotting again. Songmi, let's play a magic game. I was softer to him, but still, I didn't believe in his magic. I had caught onto his first magic trick. No, Dad, I'm not an idiot. I'm not a baby. Your games are for 3-year-old babies. This time it is real. This is a new game. He put his hand on a small blanket. Dad, wait, don't point anywhere, I said as I pointed at the door. And don't fart. If you fart, I'm going to run out of the room. I can't promise that, he said. Even the police can't stop someone from farting. He had about 15 cards under his fingers and thumb of his left hand. The cards were spread out. He said he would lift all the cards with one hand. That's not possible, and I don't trust you, Dad. I said it, but my eyes were glued to his hand. He started pressing down with his right hand on top of his left. 1, 2. All of the cards were moving up along with his hand. It seemed that the cards were floating under his hand. I was mesmerized. I thought to myself, this time it may be real magic. He hadn't tried to divert my attention this time. I was feeling his hand to see what he was doing. I then tried it myself, but the cards didn't stick to my hand. For about 2 months, it was a big mystery in the house about how Dad could pick up cards with just one hand. When I was alone, I tried that magic trick, but I couldn't pick up the cards. It seemed that Dad really had performed a magic trick. One day, one of Dad's friends came to visit. He was playing the same magic trick. I pleaded with him, please, please show me how you do it. A magician doesn't show his tricks, but finally he relented. I was not about to lose this chance to find the secret to my dad's magic. Dad's friend asked, "Do you have a needle?" Without answering, I ran, "Mom, where's a needle?" She was cooking in the kitchen. "Look around, you can find one. Look in the drawer." Yes, I found a needle there. I gave it to him. He showed me that he put the cards between the needle and the palm of his hand. Then, like magic, he picked up the cards. I said, "Uncle, please don't let Dad know you taught me this. I am going to play this with him." I couldn't wait for my dad to return home that day. "Dad, please come and sit. Let's do some magic." He had gotten used to me asking him to show me some magic. His eyebrows were pointing up as he thought about which trick to show me. "No, Dad, I'm going to do it." The tail was now wagging the dog. He turned his head sideways with one eyebrow raised. I played the same magic trick on him. My hand was small, so I could only lift 9 cards. Dad asked, "Who taught you?" But Mom didn't know the trick. "Wow, how did you do it?" Dad and I kept the secret. For the first time, I had a dad I could laugh and joke with, get teased by, and even endure his untimely and terrible farts. His eyebrows would be pointing up as he laughed and joked about everything. My birth father had been a cold man who rarely acknowledged me. My stepfather had regarded me as a child laborer. At last, I had both a mom and a dad who loved me.